Hello, everybody. Once again, welcome to our virtual orientation, specifically for international students. But this topic is actually for everyone, including those who are looking for jobs. Jessica Bigger is here with us today, and she is going to talk about jobs, right? How to find part-time jobs. She's going to give you tips. You're not going to be looking for a job today, but you may want to start your search. And Jessica is here to do just that. She's our career educator, and you're going to meet her today, and she has a presentation for you. Thank you so much for being with us, Jessica. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm pleased to be here and to share some good information. I hope that will be helpful to you all as you're coming to Canada and potentially looking for a part-time job, and also maybe looking for placements or career-related jobs later on as well. So my name is Jessica Bigger. I'm the career educator with Career Services, and welcome. We do have a little kind of talk bubble here that says welcome in several different languages. I can identify a few of them, but some of you might also recognize some of them as well. So just to warm us up today, I have a quick survey on this sheep scale. How do you feel today? So if you'd like, you can just pop into the chat what type of sheep represents how you're feeling today. And I think for me, it's a 6 today. I'm seeing some numbers coming up on the screen there. A 9, a 3, 2, a 6, a 3. It's a Monday morning. 2, a 6, a 4. Yes.
A 3 is like a bad hair day for me.
Yes, exactly. The 5, yes. Yeah, the 7. And 7s. I love this. It's amazing. They're all sheep, but they each have their own mood, don't they? A 6. Wonderful. Thanks so much to everyone for sharing how you're feeling today on our sheep scale. And I just want to thank you again for being here. Some of you are feeling, as my mom used to say, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And some of you might be feeling sleepy, but you're all here and you've all made time for this, and that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started on our presentation, which is focused on finding a part-time job in Canada, but I'm happy to answer questions at the end, like Christina was saying. So first of all, I just want to mention to you that Career Services, our role is to support students and also employers in the community, and to help students get job search success, but also to help them connect with employers. And we do this in a few different ways. So we do post on our website on and off-campus job opportunities, as well as some experiential or sort of volunteer or placement opportunities. We sometimes post those as well, but we can help you kind of get connected in finding out where are the jobs, who is hiring in the area that you're living in, and how to connect with those employers. We definitely do help with cover letters and resumes, as well as interview preparation. So when you're coming to Fleming, if you are wondering if your resume is going to be effective in Canada, or if maybe it might need some changes in order to get you the results that you're looking for, then you can bring your resume and cover letter to our career services, and we will look it over and give you feedback and suggestions to make sure that you are able to put your best foot forward and attract great employers. We also help you with interview preparation. So if you have an interview coming up, or if you'd just like to chat about what is expected in a Canadian interview, we are very happy to book an appointment with you and give you some resources about what are some common interview questions. What do employers expect for you to dress like? How do you answer some of the more challenging questions? And we can even do a practice interview with you so that you can feel really well prepared before you go to that interview to get that job. We also have career assessments. The career assessments are they're kind of a fun and interactive way of exploring which careers you would find most satisfying based on a few things: your personality, your interests, and your values typically. So they are free assessments. Sometimes we do them in a fun workshop, and sometimes we do them one-on-one as well. But if you're at Fleming and you're maybe feeling like you're not sure if you're in the, going in the path of the right career for you, you can come and chat with us, and we'll explore with you through those career assessments what might be a satisfying career path. We also assist with career planning. I would say that sometimes it's challenging for students to know what happens, what to do after school in order to get a job in your profession. So we can help you look at, some of the ways that you're building your network can help you with that, but also maybe planning next steps and looking at different options. Sometimes for further education, or for how to kind of move towards the career that you ideally want to have. We also can help with planning for being self-employed. So there are some resources in our community we can help put you in touch with. So if you're interested in being an entrepreneur, I've spoken with a few students recently, international students who have been doing some great self-employment work. And I, we're happy to help with that. And then I don't think this is last. Yeah, okay. The last thing I'll just mention is before you arrive in Canada, there are a couple of ways that you can connect with us. At the end, I will share a handout with a link to all of the different resources that I'm going to talk about today in this session. One of those links is a link so that you can email us at Career Services. But also, I just wanted to mention, if you would like to talk with someone or meet with someone virtually before you arrive or before you start school, in addition to contacting Career Services, you can also click on our live chat and speak with some of my colleagues who are very kind and very, very well, they're knowledgeable about employment, and they can also help you prepare and look at your resume before you get here. And so the link will be in that handout that I'm going to hand out at the end. Okay, so when you are at Fleming, you will find us, we do have a physical location here at the college. So in the Sutherland campus, we are room C2 102.14. And that's basically in the main foyer area as you head down the hall, you will see a learning resource center, and it's a big room where all the computers are. And if you go into that room, you will find us on the right. So that's where we're located every Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. We will also post regular weekly drop-in times where students can come and don't need an appointment. And those are also going to be in the Learning Resource Center. And so once you start school, you'll find out about those through the My Campus portal, which is where all of our events get posted. So you'll have access to that information. At the Frost campus, you can find us in room 202. I don't think it's actually in the slide, I realize, but we're in room 202 at the Frost campus, also in the main foyer, right beside the security desk. And we're always happy to answer questions. So on this slide, I'll just point out a couple of things. So if you go to our website, which at the bottom here you'll see is Fleming College Career Services.ca. And again, I'll share the link with you at the end. You will notice the page looks very similar to this. And there are a couple of key things I'll just point out to you. So if you, first, if you look for this find work icon, it's kind of a round circle that's black here that says find work. All of the links beside that circle are job search opportunities. So the on-campus job board is where you can find jobs that are being posted to work on campus. The experiential learning opportunities is where we post maybe volunteer positions or other opportunities that are similar to that. This local community job board takes you to a job board that's really quite excellent. Some of you might have heard of Indeed, perhaps. Indeed is a very popular website for job search. And so you can continue to search there. Of course, be careful. Just be careful of scams. Sometimes we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I highly recommend this local community job board because it actually takes jobs from 13 other job search websites, including Indeed. And then posts them all in one place. So that way it's easy to find all of the jobs. The other exciting thing about the local community job board is that our employment partners out in the community, there are other employment centers out in the community. Whenever they find out about jobs or whenever we find out about jobs from employers, all of those jobs get posted online. So the job search in Canada is actually very much an online job search. I will definitely, I see it in the chat there. I see a few questions. I will definitely send links and I'll review the chat at the end for questions. Thank you so much. Okay, so you can also look for more career related jobs using our national job board here, which is the final link right beside find work. So these are all really great places where you can search for jobs. And again, I will include those links at the end on the handout that I have for you. If you click on our bulletin board tab at the top, right here in the left-hand corner, you'll see information about, sometimes there are informations there from employers who are looking to hire like a lot of different positions, and they will send us flyers and we'll post information about those jobs on the bulletin board. You can also find information there about how to apply for jobs that are not technically employed by Fleming employers, but jobs where the work is done sometimes at Fleming. So our cleaning services or our food services, for example, or our security services sometimes. So those jobs are in that section. If you go into the Career and Employment Events tab, this is where you're going to find information about our events coming up. So I've mentioned to you already that we do have weekly drop-in sessions where you can come and you don't need an appointment and you can chat with us. Those are posted in there. You will also see when you first arrive at Fleming, you'll see that for the first several weeks of the new semester, there will be job search, resume, and interview 1-hour sessions that you can attend, where we will be giving you amazing information and resources, and getting a little bit more detailed about what you can do to create a great resume, giving you the best interview tips, and showing you in more detail how to apply for on-campus jobs as well as off-campus jobs. So I highly recommend those events. We will also have resume workshops in the new semester as well for you to attend, and also to bring your resume, and we'll give you feedback. And every year, it's very exciting. Every year, I would say late January, February, and early March, we also hold a job fair, which is really a career fair where we bring in employers who are interested in hiring students and graduates in particular for career-related jobs. So that's a great opportunity to network with employers and find out who might be hiring in your industry, and making a list of maybe some of those employers, and then networking with them during that event and also later on as well. And we can give you resources and suggestions on how to do that. And then the last tab that I'll mention for now is if you go into this job search tab, you will find information in there on how to create a great resume. There is a resume format or a resume template in there that you can actually use to make a resume that is effective in Canada for an online job search, which is the preferred style by employers. Yeah, and so there are interview tips in there as well, lots of great resources. So I definitely encourage you to kind of get into our website and explore all of the tabs and see what information you can find that can be as helpful to you. But also you're welcome to reach out to us by email. And again, I'll provide that link to you at the end. If you have questions or you're not sure to where to find some of the information, and we'll be happy to send that to you. Okay, so I'm going to move on. There are some important things that you will need to know about working in Canada. One of the key resources, and I always recommend that you speak to International Student Services about this. One of the key resources is through the Immigration, Refugees, Citizenship Services of Canada. And this link here gives you information about studying and working in Canada as an international student. So it covers information. I'm just going to click on it here. Covers information about who can work on and off campus, what is the eligibility, how many hours can you work. So there are a couple of links in here that you can explore, but I would very much encourage you, International Student Services, they are the experts in this information. So if you have any questions or there's anything you're not sure about, Chris, I hope it's okay, but I would recommend that they reach out to you about those things.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the next slide. The next thing to note is that to work in Canada, you do need a social insurance number. And this is a really interesting number. Sometimes you will find that people will ask for your social insurance number, but really they don't need it. So I want to encourage you all, the social insurance number is something that I recommend that you all keep very private. Don't share it with anyone. Keep it in a very safe space. In fact, we don't even recommend that you keep it in your wallet. We recommend that you have it like in a very safe place, somewhere in your home, and just be aware of it, or perhaps memorize it, but really don't share it with anyone at all. The only person that you would need to really share it with would be an employer after they have formally hired you. So sometimes there can be scams in Canada. We do have some information on our website, just what to look out for scams. But one of those red flags that we watch out for is if someone asks you for part or all of your SIN number before they have hired you. That is something they don't need, and you don't have to provide it. And we recommend waiting just to keep yourself safe from those scams. There is one weird exception. I don't know why this is the case, but in grocery stores, I find sometimes they still have forms that they ask job applicants to fill out. And somewhere in that form, sometimes there is a space for the social insurance number. I'm going to suggest that you don't need to fill that out, and you can just put that you will provide it upon hiring. I'm told that that's kind of something they've done maybe in the States, or something they've done in the distant past. But just to keep your social insurance number protected, the only thing it's used for is so that employers know you are eligible to work in Canada. And this link here will show you, it'll give you information about how to apply. You can apply online, which is great. And it will tell you sort of what you need in order to apply. There is no fee, which is great, but you will need some documentation. So I encourage you to check out this link and make sure. So once you have actually applied for the social insurance number, and once you've met all of the other criteria to work in Canada, then you can start to work even if you haven't yet received your social insurance number, which I think is a nice thing. But sometimes it can take, I think it said 5 to 10 business days if you're applying online. Okay, I'm going to move on. So I think in every country in the world, we all do things just a little bit differently. And maybe some of the things we do are the same as well. But for this slide, what is really important for you to know is that you do have rights in Canada. There are employment laws. And these laws, the intention of the law is to protect workers, and to make sure that you have your rights and that employers are respecting them. And of course, employers have rights as well. So I would recommend going through these links, which again, I will provide to you in the handout. But I'm just going to click the employment standards here. This is a really helpful place where you can find information about what the laws are regarding what minimum wage is, limits to the amount of hours employers can ask you to work for. So for example, there's a certain number of hours an employer has to make sure you have between shifts so that you have time to go home and get a good night's sleep, for example, or a good day's sleep if you're working a night shift. There are laws about beginning and terminating employment, holidays that employers are required to give you, different types of pay or leaves and vacation. So you can find all of that information in the Employment Standards Act here. And I'm just going to encourage you again, if you're not sure, once you start working, if you're not sure about something maybe that's going on at work, if you're concerned in any way, I would love it if you would come and chat with us and we can explore it with you further, and make sure that you're being treated in a way that is in accordance with our laws in Canada, because that's really important. And we are here for you for that. So I'm just going to go back for one more moment. The other one I did want to point out to you is this Ministry of Labor, Immigration Training and Skills Development website. It does have access to the employment standards here as well, but it also covers workplace health and safety, because you have a right to a safe workplace as well. And so this can give you more information about the laws regarding your health and your safety in the workplace. Okay, so again, if you have any questions, please do come and chat with us. These are two posters that employers are required to post in somewhere in their workplace. Usually you'll find them in the staff lounge, and they can give you information. At the bottom here, you'll see phone numbers and contact information, so that if you're not sure if your rights are being upheld in your workplace, you can contact these numbers as well and get more information and get support and help for what to do next. And just to be aware of those things. Currently, minimum wage is $16.55. And so that is the same for all workers who are adult workers, including servers or those who serve alcoholic beverages as well. So everyone kind of receives the minimum wage as a minimum, and then you can also see, depending on some industries, there may be different minimum wages. So a wilderness guide, it looks like the minimum wage is much, much higher, which is very interesting. And it could reflect perhaps the level of experience and the level maybe of danger that they experience in their work, perhaps. But the good news is the minimum wage will be going up, and I think it's going up on October 1st, 2024, if I'm not mistaken, to $17.20. So it's $16.55 right now, and you can see over time it's been gradually going up as the standard of living or the cost of living is going up as well. So that will be raised in the next several months. I forgot about my circles. Okay. For your resume, it's important, I think the most important thing really when you're first starting out job searching in Canada is to make sure your resume is attracting Canadian employers who are going to be looking for specific things. So it's important to have a good resume format. In Canada, because we have such a focus on online job search and online applying for jobs, employers are using AI scanners more often to scan the resume for keywords from the job posting or the job advertisement in order to make sure that the resume is a good match with the job that they're posting. So the challenge though is that not all resumes are compatible with AI scanners. So if your resume has like columns where it's got like 2 columns of information perhaps, or if it has a lot of text boxes, or if it has like a lot of formatting, for example, a lot of formats or templates that you can download off the internet, may look very visually appealing but have a lot of formatting. Those tend not to be compatible with AI scanning software. And if your resume isn't compatible with that software, then the software won't select it for interviews. It won't be able to read it and find your keywords. So it's really important to make sure you are using a format that is simple and easy to read, and highlights the key information, which is why I will provide you again at the end with a link to the resume format that we recommend that is compatible for Canada. We recommend, so for part-time jobs, a lot of part-time jobs really do prefer a 1-page resume. But you definitely want to have no more than a 2-page resume at the maximum. So later on, when you're applying for career-related jobs, it may make sense to have a 2-page resume, but usually for part-time jobs, it's just a 1-page resume. And in Canada, we have kind of 2 different types of resumes. So for us, the CV or the curriculum vitae and the resume are actually 2 different things. They're not the same thing. So a CV in Canada is a much more expanded, longer version of the resume. And then the resume itself is not a whole history of all of the work and educational experiences you've had. It's actually a targeted marketing document where you're picking and choosing the most relevant information to show an employer that you are a great match for their specific job. So in Canada, the resumes are shorter for that reason, and they're targeted to different jobs. So if you're applying to a job in a restaurant, your resume is going to look very different than if you're applying for a job in your career, if you're going into biotechnology, for example. So each job will have a different resume. And that resume that I'm going to provide at the end, it will have instructions for you on how to tailor that. Okay. I got ahead of myself. Perfect. It's very important to include your name, your address, your phone number, and your email on the resume. For your address, the most current thing that we're doing is just including the city and the province to avoid any possible discrimination that could result from living in a particular neighborhood. It's important to include a summary of the most relevant qualifications, but it could be like education, skills, experiences, volunteer experiences that you've had that relate to the job in your profile. It's important to include relevant skills. And again, I can't say this enough. Ideally, you're going to pick out the key skill words from the job advertisement that you have experience with. It's okay if you don't have experience with all of the skills that they're asking for, but just make sure to include the key skill words for those skills that you do have. Include your relevant experience. And I would definitely also recommend including your Fleming education as well. Even though you haven't completed it yet, it is considered ongoing. It's part of your experience. And it will show employers that you're connected to the community that you're applying for jobs into, which is a great thing. I'm just going to quickly check my time because I want to make sure I save time at the end for you as well. I have till 11:45. Okay, I think we're doing well. Oops. Apologies, I've gone off screen. Here we go. Okay, thanks for bearing with me, everyone. All right. In terms of having interests on your resume, I would say if your interests are relevant to the type of job you're applying for, then it's okay to include them. So, or if they show an employer that you have a certain type of skill, for example, maybe you have been part of a team sport, that shows teamwork and it shows your ability to get along with others and accomplish a goal as part of a team. So those are all valuable skills. So if your interests give employers good information like that, then they are worthwhile to include on your resume. But usually we include those just very briefly at the end, or it's optional. We can remove them if they're not relevant. Okay, some things not to do. So, so for a Canadian resume, we don't include anything related to our personal life, really. So your family history, personal photos, we don't include photos, any kind of personal information about having like a spouse or kids. We definitely don't include the social insurance number. And honestly, we don't include a reference to your available hours as well on a Canadian resume. I know students often tell me that employers for part-time jobs in the community, such as like Tim Hortons or Walmart or Canadian Tire, they will often ask for availability. So I'm going to encourage you, don't use a chart for your availability if you choose to include it, because the chart is not compatible with scanning software. So if you're going to reference hours to assist employers, maybe include that on a separate page because it's not really part of the resume. So just to keep that in mind. So when you're job searching in Canada, this is kind of the flow or the process that we tend to see. So first, what we will do is we'll research jobs. So we'll use those job search websites I mentioned, and we will find, some jobs that we're interested to apply to online. A lot of students do go out in person and talk to employers, but I would say community employers will prefer that you apply online first. And once you have applied online, it's okay to follow that up by going in person and talking to an employer and asking to speak to a manager and saying, I'm so excited about working for your company. I've researched it and I really want to be a part of this. That's okay. And that could get their attention. And I've talked with a lot of students who have gotten employers' attention that way. but researching jobs first and applying online is so important, because I have seen also a lot of students who don't apply online, who spend a lot of hours going out into the community and giving the same resume to all the different employers. But as we talked about, each employer wants to see different skills on your resume. So, so that strategy doesn't work as well in Canada. So first research the job, find out what the employer, what skills they want. Then you're going to change your resume and highlight any experiences or skills you have that are relevant to that. Then you're going to apply online, ideally, and then hopefully you'll get called for an interview. And just to give you kind of a guideline, I would suggest that if your resume is well targeted to a job, you should get, I would say, an interview for every 5 to 10 job postings that you apply to, if it's very well targeted. So just to keep that ballpark in mind. And if you're not getting that level of result, come and chat with us and we can help. Once you get a call for an interview, you're then going to practice and prepare. So in Canada, there are a lot of applied behavioral questions where they will ask you things like, tell me about a time when you demonstrated leadership skills, or describe a time when you worked with a team to accomplish a goal. So they're actually not looking for a general answer about your team work skills or your leadership qualities. They want like a very specific example of a situation that actually happened in your experience, and they want you to describe it to them. So we do have some great resources, which I have linked in the handout I'm going to give you at the end, for how to answer questions like that and to prepare. After you have prepared for the interview, then you will attend the interview, and then it's interesting. Employers won't always mention this, but they do prefer that you bring your references with you to the interview. So just to be aware of that, to have 3 references typed out on a sheet and bring it with you to the interview. Even if they don't ask for it, they will expect it typically. There is going to be a link for that in the handout that I've sent. And then after the interview, employers do appreciate it if you send them a quick email thanking them for the opportunity to interview with them. And just maybe letting them know, reaffirming that you're interested, and letting them know, you know, what part of the interview really was in line with, you know, your interests. And then after that, hopefully you will get the offer for the job, and then you can choose to accept. So that is kind of the process for the job search. When you're job searching and when you're creating your resume, it's really important also to be in touch with what is it that you want. So we often think about, well, what does the employer want? I need to make sure that I'm telling them, you know, what they want to hear, but it's also very important to know who you want to work for, to make a list maybe of your top 10 employers, and then create a resume that targets those jobs, and reaching out to employers to let them know that you're interested as well. Again, online is ideal. So we do use a variety of strategies in Canada. So we have online job boards, which I will share with you, but we also do a lot of networking. Employers in Canada find it's less expensive and also less time consuming and more reliable to actually hire people that they know, or people maybe that someone in their company knows and can recommend. So networking can be a really important component of your job search in Canada. Cold calling and prospecting is another way that we job search in Canada, by contacting employers. And I say cold calling, but I think cold emailing now is definitely a trend as well. Reaching out to employers and saying, you know, you're one of my top employers that I'm interested to work for. And here's why, and here's what I think I can contribute, right? So we do have resources to help you to kind of know what to say and how to reach out and what the guidelines are for that. And also social media is important in a Canadian job search. We're finding approximately 80% of employers, after they have reviewed your resume, if they're interested, they might go see if they can find you on LinkedIn, and see if the information on LinkedIn is accurate comparatively with the resume. And if they line up well, it gives them a chance to get to know you a little bit better as well. So those are some ways that we do job search. And part of the reason that we have so many different strategies for job search is because, in fact, only 20% of the available jobs in Canada are actually ever get to a job posting. So this is interesting because if you look at this chart here on the left triangle, you'll see that when we search for work, we tend to use job postings most often. And then, we might eventually talk to friends or start networking later on, right? But employers, in fact, do the opposite. In fact, they will first look at people that can be referred to them by the people that they know. And then later on, at the very last minute, they will post a job ad if they have to. So in fact, actually 80% of jobs that are available never get advertised. And so that's why reaching out to employers that you are interested to work for, and building your network, and talking with your professors, talking with your classmates, talking with your friends, and finding out who maybe has hired them, and where the job postings are. That's every bit as important, or maybe even more important, than looking for jobs on the job search websites too. So I guess my best recommendation is, if you've ever seen an octopus, I always like to say, be like an octopus and have all your arms reaching out to jobs and to employers, but using different strategies. Okay. I'm going to share these websites with you. These are job search websites that we do recommend. The key one at the top, of course, is our Fleming College Career Services.ca. We do have this list of job search websites directly on our own website. So it's a really nice place for you. You can kind of go, and it's a one-stop shop for all your job searching needs. In Canada, one thing for you to know as well is that while you are a student, it will be easier to find jobs with employers that are looking to hire students and work around a student schedule. So employers who are typically prepared to work around a student schedule are often related to retail, food service, grocery stores, restaurants, and definitely on-campus jobs will always work around your school schedule. But career-related jobs or professional jobs can be much harder for employers to work around your school schedule. Just to kind of be prepared if you are applying for jobs, if you see part-time jobs in your profession, absolutely apply. But I would encourage you also to just maybe expand your job search to the easier jobs to get for students in these areas, just to keep that in mind. The Chamber of Commerce and the Lindsay Chamber of Commerce for Lindsay and Peterborough, rather, these can be really great resources for how to find out who employs people in Peterborough and Lindsay, because they will have a list of the businesses in our region. Okay. We do have jobs fairs, which I've mentioned before. A couple of key warnings. So beware of employers offering cash jobs. If they're paying you in cash, that means that they may not be following the laws around making sure that you are covered for workplace health and safety as well in case anything happens to you. So just we don't recommend accepting cash jobs for that reason, because you may not be covered for safety. Again, don't provide any personal banking information or social insurance number information over phone, email, or on the web. And definitely don't provide that SIN number until you are hired. And if employers ask you for money, then that is likely a scam. I'm going to say 99. No, that's just always a scam. Like, there might be a couple of employers who say that you have to buy your you might have to buy your uniform for the job, like McDonald's, for example. But they will never ask you for money up front, and they will never ask you to transfer funds to them if they're a legitimate employer. So if your spidey senses are tingling and you're not sure, again, please feel free to always come and ask us, and we can let you know. Some do's and don'ts for interviews. Practice your interview skills, prepare your answers, make sure that the answers you give are related to the skills they've asked for in the job advertisement. In Canada, having a firm handshake and good eye contact tends to be preferred by employers. It's important to arrive on time. I would say no earlier than 10 minutes early, but definitely 10 minutes is the perfect time to arrive ahead of your interview time. You want to dress ideally one level above what you would normally wear on the job. And again, if you have any questions about that, come and chat with us. It's important to be positive in a Canadian interview and to present the best information that you have. And so we stay away from talking about wages, vacation, or benefits in the Canadian interview as well. And we also make sure, again, we only follow up with the employer once after the interview. We don't contact them repeatedly because Canadian employers don't prefer that strategy. There are things they can't ask you about. And this is illegal for them to ask you about your age, your place of origin, your ancestry, your race, color, ethnic origin, or citizenship, your religion, your faith, your ability or disability, your family or marital status, your gender identity or gender expression, and your sexual orientation. So those are things they're not allowed to ask you about in an interview. And if you are asked about those things, it's okay to decide to not to answer that. So just to keep that in mind as well. Okay. So we've talked about determining your eligibility. knowing your rights, Canadianizing your resume, doing your research, and planning your job search. So now you're ready. Are there any questions? I've only left you a couple minutes and I'm sorry about that.
So there was a question about sharing a resume with the students, a sample of a resume, right? So Jessica, if you could comment on that, that would be great.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for your presentation. It was great. A lot of information for students.
Good. I'm really glad. I hope it'll be helpful. I'm just wondering on WebEx, Chris, do you happen to know, am I able to share a document? I know I can in Zoom, but I don't see the
You
option.
you cannot send to them, no.
Okay.
But yeah. So if there's if you would like me to share the document with the students, I could share after. So we can put a link and share the document with the students for sure. But not unless the document it saves somewhere there has a link to a website, we could share on the chat. But I believe you cannot like attach a document to a chat so that they can download from here.
Okay, perfect. Okay. I've popped a link into the chat. I'm not sure if it's
I don't think it went through, but let
Yeah,
me see if I can find the actual link. Yeah,
there's just the chat,
the
there's
words.
just the
Yeah.
word.
it's just the word itself. Let me see if I can do it differently here, maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, though you can't share the document, I do think what you're referring to, there's a web page that you can like download from, is there not? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, if you give me 2 seconds, actually, I've got it right here. And would it be okay for me to send the other links in the document through
Yeah.
to you?
Send me via email and I'll share. We even post on our website when the students are downloading the or they visit the virtual recordings. I can put a link there. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. And I've got the link for the resume in here now too in the
Thank you
chat.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a reminder for students who are here, the next session, the SIN number, apply for a SIN number, is not going to be recorded. So you need to attend the session if you want to learn about it. And once again, the link for that session you should have received as part of the registration for the virtual orientation. If you haven't, I'm just putting a link for the website right now. Oops, I just sent to Rebecca, not just you, Rebecca. I need to send to everybody. Yeah, so there you go. All right, so make sure that you register and you log into the same number, which starts at 12 noon. So it will start soon, right? If you want to stay a little bit more to ask more questions. I think that was it for now. Yes.
Yeah, I just checked the chat and all of the questions will everything you're asking for is actually on the handout that I'll send to Chris. And
Okay,
thank you for
perfect. And
distributing
I'll
that
share
for
with
me.
you guys. It will be in the recording page of the International Student Services. I've already received the recordings. I'm just in the process of uploading them, probably by the end of the day if I have a chance. So the recordings and material will be on this link that I just posted. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jessica. And since you said that all the answers to questions will be in the links and documents that we're gonna post for you, I'd like to thank everybody for being here and for you to give such important information to our students. And keep coming because we have more stuff for you. Today we do have the SIN clinic. And tomorrow we have important topics as well. Just a reminder that tomorrow is Tuesday, day 2 of virtual orientation. We have tips and resources on finding a place to live if you haven't found a housing yet. That starts at 9 o'clock Canadian time. So it's always our time here. And you're also going to meet your peer mentor. You know, a peer mentor is an upper semester student who will be helping you and talking about things that they went through. We also have a student who is now doing placement with us, Bharat, and we have Varsha, who you can see already in the video, and they will be there. And who know, you can also ask them questions in the background. They'll give you some tips as well. After that, we're going to have the student panel starting at 11:15, and we're going to have students from different campuses, different programs, and different backgrounds as well, different countries, and they will talk about the experience at Fleming. So this is for tomorrow. For today, remember to go to the SIN clinic. If you haven't registered yet, they start at 12 noon, and it's not recorded. Okay, so thank you very much. Bye, everybody, and I'll see you in the next session.
Thank you.
Thank you.